A couple Saturdays ago, we attended a football game. One of our little ones was playing flag football. And about 45 minutes into the game, I noticed this elderly woman walking up to random people, handing out slips of paper. She was very non-threatening, very soft-spoken, and very kind, subtle in her demeanor. It was the intriguing zigzag randomness of who she selected to approach and offer the slips of paper that captivated my attention. Now, I have to admit, I caught myself assuming she was selling something, but as so often is the case, I soon realized that was an incorrect assumption. Well, she eventually walked up to our group, and I enthusiastically accepted the piece of paper she offered me, anxious to see what it was. This is what she handed me. As you can see here, it is a piece of paper on which 2 Bible verses are written. These are both from the New International Version. They replied, "Believe in the Lord Jesus, and you will be saved, you and your household." Acts chapter 16, verse 31. Just as people are destined to die once, and after that to face judgment. Hebrews chapter 9, verse 27. And as you can see, front and back, there's no catch other than they are Bible verses, which appear to be all handwritten. And so I followed her with my eyes, and I continued to watch as she continued the random selection process. And some people accepted the slips of paper. Some people smiled and shook their heads and hands and declined, "No thank you." And she didn't hassle anyone. If someone indicated they weren't interested, she smiled and moved on without a word. I had expected that she was associated with some organization, looking for some type of charity, but being as that was not the case, instead, my mind began a new path. What were her intentions? What was the goal? As Coco and I walked along the grass after the game ended, I saw a lot of slips of paper laying on the ground, and I started to think about the selfless effort the woman had put into this project of hers. I have no idea what led her to do it, zero clue. I didn't speak with her, and she wasn't at the game last week, but I started to think about the what-ifs. What if whatever guided her to do that? What if one of the people that she handed the slip of paper to, or someone that walked along and happened to pick up one of the pieces someone else discarded? What if those verses were the unique and exact key that person needed at that particular time in their life to move forward? Maybe right at that moment to decipher a question they were struggling with or conquer a dilemma with which they were battling. That is exactly how our Father in heaven works, and it is absolutely marvelous, isn't it? Hey, this is Matthew J., and I hope you're having a dynamite day. A dear family friend of mine, a lighthouse in my life, Mary D., once cautioned me that if you don't use the gifts and talents the Lord blesses you with, sometimes He takes them away. And that's always stayed with me. What we do, what we say, it all matters. In Matthew chapter 25, verses 14 through 30, Jesus tells the parable of the talents. Although talents refers to money, I do not believe in coincidences, and I believe this refers to literal talents, gifts, blessings as well. Jesus describes a man traveling into a far country who delivers his goods to his servants, each according to his ability. He gives one 5 talents, one 2, and another 1. The first 2 servants invest and double what was given, but the third buries and returns only what was originally given to him. You see, the third servant claims he was afraid of his master's character and how he might react if things went wrong and he lost the pound he was given. He knew his master was strict and demanding, expecting results even in tough situations. Because of this fear, he claimed, instead of trying to invest or increase what he was given, he played it safe by just burying the money. The master praises the first 2 and condemns the third as wicked and slothful, taking his talent away and casting him into outer darkness. There's something I keyed into here. The number of talents the master entrusted to each servant was based upon their ability. Now, in the parable of the pounds, Jesus describes a nobleman who was going away to become king. Before leaving, he gave 10 of his servants 1 pound each to manage his business affairs while he was away. When the nobleman returned, one servant had earned 10 more pounds, and another had earned 5. But one servant didn't do anything. He just wrapped his pound in a cloth and hid it. The nobleman rewarded the servants who had made more pounds, but he punished the one who did nothing by taking his pound away and giving it to the servant who earned the most. In each parable, the master expected his servants to use what he gave them to produce an increase, to be fruitful. So let me ask you, what gifts, talents, and resources has the Lord blessed you with? Are you actively using those gifts, talents, and resources in a fashion that encourages and leads others to Jesus? Maybe you have a talent to teach, or a listening ear and the gift of empathy to comfort a wounded heart. Maybe you have the gift of encouragement and the calling to lead. Maybe you can sing, write, dance. Can you pray for someone in need, or lend a helping hand to someone struggling? Don't bury and leave it unused. So like that woman I talked about with the slips of paper, you may never see the full outcome of your effort. However, God does. Hey, thank you for your time today. If this resonates with you, please let me know in the comments below. Our separate paths are a part of a greater adventure. Till next time, no fear, stay vigilant, eyes on Jesus.